Crazy fucking people on the internet, man. I tell you what. Just crazy. Nutso, schizo, wacko. Some other O's, but they're just knuckin' futs. Every one of them. Holy Lord. Trying to, I've got stuff. I don't know what happened with Twitter. Snorting, I'm triggering them so hard. Oh man, these people, they're so unhappy. They just don't know what to die. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a cat surrounded by catnip, and there are moths and butterflies everywhere, and I am just swatting them all into oblivion. The Yenny shirts are available. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. We've got hoodies, long sleeve, t-shirts, everything. The Yenny the cat, dancing on a pole. Yep, there it is. You asked for it. You got it. Christmas shirts are also available. Christmas crazy sweaters. Ah, man, it's snowing in Denver. Damn it. Forget it. I quit. The only thing I miss about Colorado is the snow. So anyway, the Yenny the Cat shirts are available. If you're interested, go get one. I just ordered one. I'm excited. I'm going to rock it. And don't be like, I'm a guy. I can't wear that. Yes, you can. It's a stripper. Of course you can. Morning, everybody. I got a good one for you. I'm going to walk you through. What did I put up in the show notes? Oh, Kari Lake. I'm going to break it down for you. The whole thing. People are like, oh, I don't understand. Why are you saying Kari Lake's not going to win? We did this 4 years ago. And I'll show you. And I'm going to break it down. And I'm going to really break it down. I'm going to show you how I do this. Now, I do this by eye. And I just kind of calculate and tabulate and pontificate and regulate and demonstrate. And I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to yeah, there's hoodies. There's hoodies. Of course, there's a hoodie right there. I mean, come on. It's right there. Hoodie. Yes, we've got hoodies. Go get your hoodie and your Christmas sweaters, your crazy, ugly Christmas. These are like $130 Christmas sweaters from Men's Warehouse. And they're like $69. And people are like, I don't know if I want to order a $69 Christmas sweater. Why not? It's comfy as shit. Go get it. One of my siblings who I talk to every day hasn't spoken to me since Trump got reelected. Oh, well, hold on. Sorry. That's not good. That's okay. It's probably a good thing. Sounds like I need another cup of coffee. I think so. Because you missed the hoodies. I got a good show for you. No, I don't. Actually, I've done nothing to prepare. I really haven't. That's why the goal's 150. I don't feel like I could have asked you for 250 today because I didn't prepare anything except for the Kari Lake thing. Now, there's a lot of work that went into this. It's going to take a little bit because you asked for it. But you know what? If you're feeling froggy, then jump, frog. We will see you in just a few minutes. Step into a webcam. God, I love Bobby Richardson. She's like, yeah, I'm already going to go ahead and order a hoodie and a long sleeve. Done. Drop. Boom. Bobby Richardson's in. Hoodie and a long sleeve within minutes. It's quicker than a cat getting a mouse. Bobby is in. She's not going to miss it. She's like, no, hell no, I'm not going to miss this. I'm all over it. It's the Yenny shirt. Folks, it doesn't get much better than this. I mean, the design is impeccable, and I got to take credit for it. I mean, I even got the stardust and glitter all around her. Look at that. Beautiful, elegant. Cat on a stripper pole, folks. You can't beat it. Get the Yenny shirt. Ashley, if they don't want to talk to you because Donald Trump won, then they were looking for a reason not to talk to you anyway. Screw them. Okay? Seriously, family's good. Okay, family's good when it's good, and it's what the, but that's not me. That's family's good when it's good, and family is bad when it's bad. And when it's bad, you got to cut it out. And everybody, oh, it's blood's thicker than water. No. Blood is thicker than, honestly, just shit sometimes. It's just shit. And family can be shit. And after decades of taking my mother's mental abuse, I just cut that woman out of my life. And it was the greatest thing I ever did. And then my sister followed. And my brother followed. And I had to look at myself and say, well, is it you? Is it really you? Are you the problem? And I had to really assess myself and ask myself those questions. And the answer most assuredly was no. When you're the youngest, they take advantage. They are, they have this attitude like elitists that they're somehow better. And you have to take all the shit rolls downhill. And as a younger kid, you're never respected. Your opinion's never appreciated. I'm not woe is me. I'm just telling you why I cut them out of my life. So if you have a situation where family is bringing you down and you have made all the effort to be affable and to try to accommodate their own shortcomings, and it's still not working, then I give you permission. Endowed upon thee by thy creator and the holy Don't Unfriend Me show to say, fuck them. There you go. Merry Christmas. You know, that's an interesting question. We're never going to get to the show. It's just not, oh my gosh, it's never going to happen. Why is Matt on a phone screen? Actually, there is a new and improved thing coming to the show. We're still trying to get the app. I don't even know if Apple's ever going to approve it. Jason's been going through hell. It'll come probably at the beginning of the year, but there is a new thing coming to the show in like 15 days, and it's really cool. It allows me to have just work with me. You're going to be like, what? I don't understand this. Just work with me. I can take this phone and bring it into the show, but not just to show what's on the screen, which is really no big deal because you can do that now. But I can actually on the show work the phone without touching it. And use on the screen and go into it and open up apps and open up and photos and whatever I want. And literally it would be like me working the phone like this, but you seeing everything that's going on through this program. That's coming. Also, another upgrade we're getting is that we can bring on 10 guests at a time. So we're going to create a new show during the week where we're going to bring in multiple people to talk about certain topics and have a panel. That's going to be huge. I mean, I'm talking like 10 people, viewers, guests and such. That's going to be fun. And then another thing is that we can now, this is very exciting. So if I have multiple feeds where you see Leeroy, Amy, and I, and we're all spread out like this, right? And we're like, oh, hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. We're all talking and yada, yada, yada. It only records this box, this, you know, the thing you see. And the individual video is not recorded. Aha. But now, not only is this box that you see recorded, but each individual camera is recorded separately. And each individual audio input is recorded separately, which means that when we mix something or we clip something from live or we want to make a video, we can zoom in on Leeroy talking, and that's awesome. So we can have, instead of small boxes, boom, it'll blow up when Leeroy talks. If we really want to make a cool video. Lots of cool stuff coming. Technology is advancing. Can we get on with the show? That's wonderful. You know what? Let's just go ahead and skip this shit. All right, here we go. Merry Christmas. Bye.
It's Red Friday, RED Friday, which stands for Remember Everyone Deployed.
Obama has not fled the country. Oh my God.
A movement designed to honor veterans and deployed U.S. troops by wearing a red shirt every Friday. As simple as that may be, Red Friday is a great way to back those who serve our country. Go to dumbshow.com and search for Red Friday to get your red on.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The Dumb Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The Dumb Show on social media or thedumbshow.com.
We got to get Ryan Weaver back on.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Jelly, don't take it that way, but we get a lot of questions like that and a lot of queuers in here, and I'm not saying you're a queuer, but I don't. We won, okay? We won. That's it. We can stop. We get to sit back and relax a little bit. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like when your dad is he's teaching you to drive. And you're like, okay, I'm going to drive. And then he puts you on the freeway and you're like, son of a, no, I can't do this. And then he's like, parallel park. And then he's like, okay, go uphill and pop the clutch. And you're just like, oh my God. Just the stress is just absolutely off the charts. And you can't even breathe. And then dad goes, why don't you let me drive? And you're like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank you, Lord. And you get in the passenger side and he drives. And although your thoughts of driving the vehicle and the grandiose success that it would have been are shattered, you're very happy not to be behind the wheel anymore. Folks, we're not behind the wheel. Dad's driving the car. Let's just relax, okay? We don't need to worry about lizards and Jewish space lasers anymore and Dominion servers. The election, we won, and it worked, which you need to reflect upon the last 4 years that I've told you to stop believing everything you read on the internet. And I'm not talking to Jelly specifically. I'm talking to other people. Yeah, Jelly, Obama's didn't leave the country. Yeah. There's a couple reasons I know that, because while we were in there, I checked. There is, most people who do this for a living understand that there's tracking software. You can look up Obama's charters, look up his planes that he's flown and things to that effect. It's not difficult. This is how a lot of people knew P. Diddy left the country. It's how we tracked different civilian aircraft of Donald Trump's. And this is how we track Taylor Swift over the world. The Obamas are most assuredly not fleeing the country. They're not in Guantanamo Bay. They're not being hung. No, they're not. There's not clones being reproduced of them. And yeah, no, none of those things happen. So we're going to be okay. Not that Jelly was saying that. I'm just saying that usually when people go, hey, has Obama left the country? And the answer is he could be, but he's not fleeing the country. Nobody's fleeing, folks. If you haven't noticed, Democrats are fairly good behavior, and only the ultra left are truly going across and making a stink of this. Now, the rumblings are the community, the leftists, the social media influencers are very upset, and they're grasping at straws. They're now saying the election was stolen. There's something fishy here. There's 15 million votes. You morons. There was 20 million votes last night. Now there's 15 million. Soon it's going to be 10 million, and then 5, and then, oh, fuck, it's the same amount of votes because California is still counting. Democrats, you were supposed to be the party of education. You can't even do basic math. If you can't get past 6 zeros, then we've got a problem, a serious problem. You need to just realize that nobody liked Hillary Clinton, and they liked Kamala Harris even less. I told you she was the most despised politician ever. Nobody likes this woman. They hate her guts. She already ran for a primary. If she would have run for the 2024 primary, she would not even have finished in the top 20 when there was only 2 people racing. Okay? That's how bad this woman is. She was terrible. Terrible. Okay? So she lost because she sucked. Now, people are like, Donald Trump's a convicted felon. He's a rapist. He's a sexual predator. He embezzles money. He's a homophobe. He hates Jews. He's a Nazi. Yep. Okay. All that's true. That's fine. All of it's true. And even after all of that truth, they still hated Kamala Harris more. That tells you how fucking bad your candidate was. Okay? So can we stop pretending that Kamala Harris we need a recount? You idiots don't even know why recounts are triggered. Recounts are triggered, for example, in the state of Pennsylvania, in a race that just took place with McCormick, it was only a half a point. I mean, it's probably going to get a recount, and that's fine. Now, there's only 100,000 votes remaining, and the reason why the AP called it, and I could tell you, is because it's in a predominantly red district, which is also what's going to happen to Kari Lake. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. But there'll be a recount there. Now, if Georgia would have been a 49.2 to a 48.7, they would have recounted that because nobody got 50. There's things that trigger recounts, and you getting your ass handed to you, shellacked, completely freaking obliterated. I mean, red wave drowned repeatedly doesn't mean you get a recount. Just because you're unhappy with the result doesn't mean you get a recount. So you're not getting a fucking recount, okay? Where did the 20 million, 15 million, 10 million, 7 million, 5, 4, 3. Shit, it's the same amount of votes. You're not getting a recount. Shut up. You're not getting Supreme Court justices. Sotomayor is not going to resign now. If she does, it doesn't matter because you will see our Alito and Clarence Thomas do the same, and we've got the bench for 40 years. There's nothing you can do. It's over. You're not getting Puerto Rico. You're not getting Washington, D.C. You're not going to go ahead and get rid of the Second Amendment. You're not going to codify Roe v. Wade. Every dream that you had is now dead. So the only thing for you to do is to get up and go to work. Because we had to do that shit for 4 years as you ruined this fucking country. Now we're going to get it back. Okay? No recount's going to change that. No magic dust. No people in Guantanamo Bay. No space aliens or lizards. No, there's nothing. And you guys can go the way of Q. You can be blue anon. That's fine. I will love punting you around for 4 years like I did the right. But you folks this is what happens every 4 years. We swap brains. Massive lobotomies take place all over the United States as right brain people have theirs removed and it's stuck in left brain mindsets and then left comes into us. We are magnanimous. We won the election. It's the fairest election ever. Huge democracy, republic, fairest election in U.S. history. Greatest election ever, some would say. Funny. It's not what you were saying 72 hours ago. You were telling me how it was going to be stolen and we should all sit home and there's nothing we can do and our vote doesn't matter. And I begged you, show up. Don't fucking stay home. Now it's like, oh, look at this republic we have. It's amazing. We've restored our republic for which it stands. Vote. And the left are like, voting doesn't work. They cheated. It's a conspiracy. And by the way, the left who are like, oh yeah, well, the difference between us and you is you storm the Capitol. We'll see how you guys feel in 4 weeks when hope is all gone. We'll see how you guys are doing on January 6th of 2025. Let's just do a little checkup and see how you're feeling. Because I have a sneaking suspicion you're going to be fucking pissed that you are going to have Donald Trump as your president. All capital letters, your president. So we'll see how you guys feel on January 6th. Okay? Let me know. By the way, never thought it would be a red wave. We didn't say those words, but I told you we were going to get the House. I told you we were going to get the Senate. And I was fairly confident Donald Trump would win and tell you how he was going to win. Remember? I know. You heard it here first. By the way, I did an AI image of my wife and my son was on it. And I like my jaw hit the deck when I saw this. Let me find this. Oh, son of a motherless. Where'd it go? Aha, Here it is. So you it's crazy. So when I did the cover of the live election show, I was like, do an AI image of Leeroy in a suit, do me, and put us in suits, evening wear, tuxedos. Because, folks, this is a Don't Unfriend Me show. It's not that we have an endless budget show. It's not like we're the Democrat Party with $2.5 billion. So I obviously use AI. So what I decided to do was go ahead and I said, put Olivia in an evening dress. And, Amy comes back and she's in a up to the shoulder dress with pearls. And I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. And I come in a tux, single strip black tie. And Leeroy comes in with an open collar tux. And, Ryan Samuels is, glasses. And, I think he had a neckerchief or something. And I put in Olivia and I said, please put Olivia Spear in an evening dress. And this shit is what came back. And I almost dropped my fucking chin to the floor. And the funny thing is that what pisses me off is when I do AI of my wife is that there is no difference. It literally is Olivia. AI can't improve her. This is what I deal with every morning when I wake up. Now, does she look like this in the morning when she wakes up? No, not a fucking chance. But with a little bit of work, and it doesn't take much, and barefoot, mind you, walking in the beach. Thanks, AI. Cold shower and a few cups of coffee, and I was able to function again. Anyway, we'll see how liberals feel on January 6th. Okay? We're going to see how you feel, because I have a sneaking suspicion that you're going to show up to the Capitol. I really do. And I think you're pissed, and I think you want to fight. By the way, here is the old election prediction, and wanted to show it to you. This is the election prediction that I showed Hayden election morning. This is the one I showed you a couple nights before. There it is. Does that look familiar? And here, we'll leave that here. Let's put that right down here. Does this look familiar to anyone? I just pulled this. The date on this is October 27th. October 27th is when this screenshot was taken from, that I showed it on my show, of election prediction. Does this look familiar to anybody? I know Olivia is beautiful without AI, but I can't afford it. Okay, I'm not going to explain it again. So there it is. 312. 220. Does this look familiar? Yeah. Yeah. We call that spot effing on in this business. So now that we've established this, let's go ahead and let you know where we stand with Kari Lake. You're just bragging because you have a knockout wife. Yeah, it is. It's not bragging if it's true. I learned that a long time ago. Winning is not bragging if it's true. It's not bragging. Bragging is braggadocious. Somebody who is extending and expanding the actual reality in order to make themselves look good. Mine is simply true. She's hot. I know. Mommy daddy time is on the menu tonight. Moving on, let's go ahead. Most of California was red. Most of the entire country was red, but that doesn't necessarily, of course, to the left, land doesn't vote. Yeah, but a bunch of rednecks do, and we kicked your ass. See, this is so fun because I get to do this now. This is what it looks like. And it's even worse now. California down here in southern, down in San Diego and closer to the border, that's all red too. Very little. It was pretty much just the western coast, Oceanside, Riverside, Los Angeles County. There it is. There it is. You know what? The only place you were wrong is that Nebraska picked up all red. I don't think so. I was looking at that. I think you guys got that wrong. By the way, the House is at 211,200 right now. I didn't know that Nebraska went all red. It didn't. So I didn't get it wrong. That's what you guys told me and Olivia said, but that's not what happened. Nebraska did not go all red. She got 1 electoral vote. He got 4. So I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I wasn't wrong. Thank you, Evelyn. I appreciate the try, though. You noticed my reaction when everyone called that it went all red. I flipped out. I was like, what? That's huge. You have no idea how. That's Omaha. If Omaha went red, then the entire country's going. So I'll keep my winning streak. Thank you, though, for trying to humble me. Failure didn't work. That's okay. You know, I guess I should show these other ones. You got really excited with that. Well, of course I got excited with that call because I didn't predict that it would happen, and I was right. There's Amy in her evening AI image. It's outstanding. Ryan Samuels cleaned up the best. Look at Ryan. Ryan's just looking like a stud. Leeroy on the Learjet looks very handsome. Very handsome. He cleans up. He's got that Kojak bang bang look. And then little old me, which they did a little too much on my hair. Everything else is fine. The narrowness down here, I have a more round face. I've always had chubby cheeks. It's just no matter how much I lift or work out. But anyway, the AI did a good job. Oh, and then this one. Forget about it. This was the second place winner. Are you kidding me? Come on. Come on. But Olivia's not a little stick model. She's a woman. She's not a size 2. That needs to eat something, whatever that thing is. Anyway, let's get to it. Let's talk about Kari Lake. All right, so I want to set this up. A lot of people are upset over Kari Lake. They're mad. And they're like, Matt, why would you go ahead and say that Kari Lake lost when it hasn't been called yet? For the same exact reason that I did in 2020, that she lost 3 weeks before the final count came in. It's because I did the math. Now, could something happen? Sure. Could I be wrong? Yes. Not wrong that Nebraska was going to be a 4-1 split, which I was right about. And it was reported wrong by the Don't Unfriend Me show hosts that weren't called Matt Spear. But people are upset. Why do you hate her? I don't hate her. I think she's a bad candidate. I think her not conceding the governorship is going to do her harm in this race. And it just shows you, MAGA, this is the first time we've won since 2016. But MAGA candidates didn't win. Donald Trump went center. I don't know if you know this, but he stopped the populist message. And he went with a more moderate platform. He went moderate on abortion. He went moderate on state law. He was all about business and working class. He switched that message versus I'll bring the greatest economy in the world and tariff, tariff, tariff. He still talked about tariffs, but he talked about the working class. He talked about energy. He talked about blue-collar workers. He talked about fracking. He talked about oil. He curtailed to the blue-collar worker and stole their vote. Just fucking stole it out from underneath her. So with Kari Lake, you know, she's a J6er, stolen election, old school 2018 to 2020 MAGA. And there's nothing wrong with 2020. I'm just letting you know they completely failed. From 2018 to 2022, we had 37 different candidates who were complete, from Majewski to Mohammed Oz to Herschel Walker to Kari Lake. And I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Every single one of them lost. Horribly bad. And the remnants of that in Arizona are still kind of there. Now, although Kari Lake is closing, and it still could win. It's possible. It would require something to happen that is exactly like 2020. This is exactly like 2020, the way this is going. So, do I still go to the gym every morning downstairs? I have a very large gym downstairs, a full floor dedicated to, got free weights, pulley systems, rowing machine, treadmill, the one where you stand in place. And yeah, I work out every day. Dumbbells, resistance band, ropes, peg wall, bands on the ceilings, pulley system, inversion table. Yeah, I got a full, like people with COVID. When COVID hit, they came to my downstairs because they couldn't get in a real gym, and they came to my house. So I every day. So, when we look at Kari Lake, it's not that I don't appreciate who she is as a person. I think she's very pretty. I think she's smart. I think she's confrontational to a point of off-putting, and some people call me off-putting, so I can't really say anything about that. By the way, folks, if you have not had a chance, thedumshow.com/donate. We aren't free. We do this because we need to stay alive, and the best way to do that is if you can help donate. But it's not that I don't like Kari Lake. It's that I think Kari Lake is an old guard of the MAGA movement. And the one thing that Donald Trump did, which I suggested, whether they listened or not, and I don't think they did because I don't think they watch, but about 12, 16 months ago, I said he needs to expand his message. He needs to become the umbrella party. He needs to go after African-American vote, working class vote, the unions. He needs to get into states that make him uncomfortable. And he did that. And that's exactly what he did. And I also said that he has to soften his message so he can get women. And he did. Finally, at the end, especially with Nikki Haley and his stance on abortion, actually worked. Exit polls tell us that he closed the gap on the abortion gap. He was down by something like 37%. He closed that to within about 11 points. That ultimately gave him a lot of the suburban women vote, especially the inner city vote, and it helped him. So I want people to understand is that he moved away from the isolationist, populist, America first only message that MAGA had in the midterms in 2020. And it pissed a lot of people off. Nick Fuentes' panties are still in a bunch. He's still crying like a little bitch all over the internet. And now he's taking credit. Oh, I was voting for him the whole time. I was just kidding. And this is why Nick Fuentes, nobody will take him seriously. But you saw Trump shift. So Kari Lake definitely has that old school, first MAGA opinion that all elections are stolen, and the Davos summit and the New World Order all wants to take over everything, and they have since 1970, but they're about as much of a threat as the Illuminati and the Trilateral Commission. And it's just this doom and gloom shit that the whole world is out to get you. And all you got to do is pay attention. And if anyone disagrees with you, they're evil. So I don't believe that Kari Lake has a message that people really are buying into. Okay. But let's get into it. Let's take a look. And because it looks like it's going fairly red. I thank Bobby for donating $51.99. We appreciate you. It's going to be a slow. Sharon Clark Taylor says, that sounds more like feelings than facts. I don't know what that means. Be more specific. I have a feeling you don't like what I'm about to say, Sharon. And here's the cool thing. Welcome to my channel. This is the problem with being right, kiddo, is people don't like what you have to say. But we'll go ahead and say it anyway. I'll try to be gentle. So if we take a look at Kari Lake and feelings than facts, I guess I don't know if that was directed at me or somebody else, but I care little. Because the only thing I do is facts, and everyone knows it who watches the show. So we're going to do that now. If we take a look at the overall election results, Thomas, I don't know about John Fetterman right now. I'll do it later. I'll answer whatever question. Another conversation. Thank you, Sharon. I didn't think so, but it's hard to tell sometimes, especially when I don't have Olivia. So I apologize. I wasn't coming down on your shit. I just have to assume that everything's about me because I'm arrogant and self-centered. So we're gonna break this down. I wrote everything down. I went through and I tabulated projections. Okay, and this is not easy. So I hope people appreciate this and at least listen to it so they can get an understanding of where this is going. In order to project this based on the current numbers and trends, you have to take the percentage of votes remaining in the key counties, and then those counties will make a reasonable forecast for each candidate. Now, this might be considered a simplistic way of doing things, but it's not. See, in baseball, there's a reason in baseball that you can predict what will happen. I'll give you an example. We were in Houston, and we were on the third baseline. Our seats, we were like row 7, and had really great seats in the Astros, and we had box seats from Comcast when I worked there, and we would really like go to every game and watch, and just completely, we just fell in love with them. And Jose Altuve was batting 333 that year. 332, 337, 333, and was just crushing. And this was outside the World Series year. And he had been up to bat 5 times. Now, if you're batting 333, what that basically means is 1 out of 3 bats, you're going to go ahead and get a hit. Now, being 5 bats, you have to go ahead and do the math on that, because every time he would bat after that and not get a hit, you would have to assume one of 2 things were happening. He was beginning a cold streak, or he was due. Now, I've tried to explain to people he's due, and what that means is that on a roulette table, because you see that black, whatever number it would be, has not come up, it doesn't mean that it's due. In fact, it's never due, and it's never not due. It's never probable, it's never improbable. It just has the exact same odds every time of showing up, based upon the numbers that are on the board, because it's a new board every time. With baseball, it's a little bit different, because you're changing the pitcher, you're changing the batter, you're changing the pitch selection and all those things. But remember, every time the batter gets to see the pitcher's pitch, it's like removing a door and let's make a deal. And the odds of your original prediction of where that ball or door might be increase. So I can predict fairly readily when someone's going to get a hit based upon the count, based upon the pitch selection, and based upon what the batter sees. And I called Jose Altuve's home run. And I just said, pitch low and outside. It's going to be off speed. He's going to take it to left field over the Crawford boxes. And my entire section heard me say it. And there was 25 people there. And I just go, oh, here it comes. Pitch the lower outside. It'll be a off-speed pitch and left shot to Crawford boxes, clearing the bases. What happened? Jose Altuve went down and got it, popped it, high pop fly, left field into the Crawford boxes, base clearing, grand slam. And people turned around and looked at me and were like, oh, I've done that with Carlos Correa. I've done it with Yuri Gurriel. I've done it with all of them. Bregman. And I would watch and call. Now, this isn't something new. I can usually call a goal in hockey about 15, 20 seconds before it happens. And people also think that I'm clairvoyant. It's not it. It's watching the breakdown in the defense. It's watching where shot selection comes. It's knowing your shooter's probability and his high probability shots and his low probability shots. You can see if he takes 5 shots that most 7 or 8 of them are going over or 7 or 8 inches above the net, then the next shot is going lower. And then the probability is that they're zeroing in on how to get in between that goalie's shoulder and the top left of the net. And you'll see it getting better and better. And if you watch the game and you study the game, every shot, every hit, every stride, every pinch, every back check and forecheck, you'll start to know when your snipers are getting warm or your offense is starting to monopolize and turn the ice and tilt it one way. You can do this in the elections too. And I'm going to show you how I do it right now. Okay? Right now. And it's the same reason I probably should have been a sports commentator as much as a political analyst or a video game enthusiast or a hobbyist or whatever. I tend to get involved and look at the numbers, and here's what we'll do right now. So when we look at this, let me get this up for you and expand it so you guys can all see it purty. All right, Ruben Gallegos. When we look at it, right now he's 1.3. Now, this might change a little bit because I did most of these a couple hours ago, but I don't think we've had a huge drop. Maybe 5 or 10 votes either way. When we take a look at Gallegos, you're looking at 1.3 million. That's 49.8% is where he's at. And Kari Lake's at 48.1%. Now, last night, Gallegos was at 50.2, so he's dropped 0.4 of a point. And Kari was at 47.9, so she has gained 0.3 of a point. And now you're like, oh my God, she's gaining. She's gaining. Yes, she is gaining. There's no doubt she's gaining. And let me explain to you why. When the initial reports came out, you got a blast of numbers from Maricopa County, the largest county in Arizona. Oh, shit. Sorry. Let me fix that. So if we go down here and look at, this is where Phoenix is at. This is the largest county in Arizona, and it's a big one. I mean, when this is all said and done, you're going to see almost 2 million votes out of here. Now, we got a large drop. That large drop put let me see if this thing will click on again. This gave Gallego a fairly large shot in the arm. And then what happened is all these reds started coming in. I want you to look at them. 59, 90% in, 86% in, 64% in, 88% in. And these blues are also catching the same amount of steam, 90% in, etc. You're seeing Pima County 72% in, etc. So what's happened was all these reds have been coming in faster than Maricopa. Maricopa is still the outlier. Now it's got 76. This election is going to be called not shortly, but Maricopa is starting to get their count in. Finally, they're starting to move. They were sitting at 56%, then 62%, then 64, 67 last night. Now they're at 76. So they're gaining, which is good. The problem with that is that now we're going to start seeing some differences. You're going to see certain sectors that are going to come in for Kari Lake, and then some that are obviously going to come in for Gallego. But here's what the prediction is based on the current trends. Now, follow along with me because this is where it gets a little complicated. So far, 2.6 million votes have been cast. Remaining votes, which is based on the county percentages that are remaining, are a little bit different than what you would expect. Let me explain it to you. The counties with significant votes left, and when we look at this, are going to be Maricopa County, which is right here. 76.5% in. There's 376,888 votes remaining. The current standings are 51.2% for Gallego, 46.9% for Lake, and Quintana 1.9%, and then some bleed off for others. So if we project this out on the current projections, if Gallego maintains his lead in Maricopa, and it is the most popular county, he would secure additional votes to cushion his lead statewide. Approximately 193,000 votes is what he would gain, and that would go to Gallego. And about 176,000 votes would go to Lake. Okay, so the difference between those two, obviously you all can do some math there and figure that out. 176 is 4, Kari is 7, and 2 is 27,000 votes would go to Gallego. Now, if we go down here into Pima County, which is going to be the second largest, you're looking at 142,000 votes remaining. Current standings are 60% for Gallego, Lake 37, and Quintana 2.5, and then other. With Pima County being strongly Democratic, Gallego could receive about 85,700 votes there, while Lake would secure about 52,700 votes. This gives Gallego a significant boost, again, just like it was in Maricopa County. So between there, you're looking at about 23,000 votes. Now we've got 56 some odd thousand votes moving positively towards Gallego and subtracting from Kari Lake's possibility. Now this is where the 2-for-1 comes. When we give Gallego votes, it takes away her ability to gain votes. So it's a 2-for-1. We call that a home and home in sports, or a back-to-back game, a 4-point game, which means that the team that's chasing you has the ability to make 2, but you make 2. They also have the ability to lose 2, and you could lose 2. So if you gain 2 points and they lose the ability to make 2 points, it's a 4-point swing. Same thing here. Every time Gallego gets a vote and she doesn't, it takes away the possibility of her to close the gap, which makes it a definite larger positive and negative swing. Positive for Gallegos and negative for her. This is why elections are so difficult for people. When they see the numbers, they go, there's plenty of votes left. No, there's not. Because every time a vote leaves the table, it subtracts from her column and adds to his. This is why the percentages lower and raise for the candidates, which is the equivalent whole of 100% of the votes. Yavapai County, 64.3% in Yavapai. and there's 35,000 votes remaining. Lake is winning this and this is, Yavapai is, there it is. Yavapai is 63.4%, and then Gallego is at 35%, with Quintana at 1.5. Other write-ins are at 0. The projection would be that she is in favor of winning this county with an additional 22,100 votes compared to Gallego's approximate 12,200 votes. That's a net positive of about 10,100 votes for Kari Lake. That's a win, right? Right. All right, so when we go to Yuma County, Lake is winning 59.3. Where'd it go? There. Yuma County. There's 34,000, excuse me, scratch that. There is 14,968 votes left. So at 59.2% in, current standings are that Lake is winning 59.3, Gallego is 38.7, Quintana is actually doing fairly well at 2%, and write-ins are shit, who cares? Projection would be that Lake would gain 8,900 votes here. With Gallego, he may gain 5,800. So you're really looking at only about 3,100 differentiation votes in between the two. Not a lot, but there are some there. Now, other counties with smaller remaining vote, such as Navajo, Cochise, and Apache, they have small margins of remaining votes, which might not shift the overall trend significantly. When we look at these, here's Cochise, here's Navajo, and here's Apache. These are not large districts. By summing up the projected votes based on county trends, and this is all in all, here it is. Gallego remaining, Maricopa would net positive 193,000 votes. Pima would net positive 85,700 votes. Yavapai would net positive 12,200 votes. Yuma, 5,800 votes. Total additional would be 2,996,700 votes. A little shy of 300,000 net positive for Gallego remaining. Now, Lake would get Maricopa. She'll go ahead and net positive 176,000 votes. Pima would be 52,700. Yavapai would be 22,100. Yuma would be 8,900, netting her 259,700 votes, roughly a 41,000 vote difference for Gallego. So the final estimates in the math that I came up with is, after adding up all the projection additional votes and votes remaining, is Gallego will finish with 1,301,340 votes that he has right now. He will then go to 296,700 votes, and his overall estimated total would be 1.5,098,040 votes. I'm putting this in chat so you can look at it visually so you can follow along. That's where Gallego would finish based upon the current projections. Now, Lake, with her projections and all votes remaining, you would take her 1.257 million that she currently has. You would take the 259,700 net positive of remaining, which would give her 1,517,204 estimated votes. If you look at them side by side, as I put them in chat, you're going to see that he is going to be about 81,000 votes more than her. So the outcome based on the projections, Ruben Gallego would maintain his lead and potentially win Arizona by a margin of approximately 836 votes. Though the margin may shift slightly based on final turnout and counting updates. That's my prediction. And the reason why I come up with that prediction is because I saw this exact same effing thing happen in Arizona when she went against Kristen Sinema and Kari Lake. It's pretty simple. What you're going to see from now on is that Maricopa, Kari Lake's going to continue to close, because those red states are going to come in and it's going to give her an overabundance because most of the blues are in on the outliers of Maricopa. But finally, at the end, when Maricopa and Pima, which are basically neck and neck in their count, it has horrible deficit between those two counties. When they finally catch up, they will overtake those red counties and her percentage will decrease. So what we saw is right around 89% to 90%. Kari Lake was neck and neck with Sinema, and then I called it and I went to Charlie Kirk and others, and I went to people who were saying Kari Lake has enough votes and there's these huge drops coming. And I said, no, there's not. There's no way. There's not enough votes for Kari Lake to close the gap. Everyone hated on me, and then I was right. The similar thing will happen here. She'll probably get to that 89% mark, and she will be within maybe 1.5 to even 0.7 of a point. And then reality will set in as those blue counties continue to send votes and the reds run out, and she will more than likely lose by that number that I just told you, which was about 80,000 votes. That is my prediction on Kari Lake, and I hope that helps clear things up for you. You can cut this segment and show it to other people. They can question my logic if they would like to. But there you are, and Merry Christmas. Reading people's comments. That's all I get. Kevin Klaus says, Matt, stop telling the truth so Facebook will let us hear you. Yeah, isn't that funny? Facebook is not down. I don't think. No, Facebook is up. It's just a slow morning. It's Friday. Friday morning, people are at work, ready to get off early. So that's pretty much it. Okay. I'm a little bit depressed that was all I got. I didn't get a round of applause or something. I mean, geez Louise, folks, that's a lot of work. But either way, hold on a second. All right, I'll take a look at that. That's pretty much where we're at. There's not much else to say. Now, this could go a different way, right? It could be possible that Maricopa continues to close the gap, and she wins. It's possible, but understand, folks, she has to make up. Right now, she's behind by 43,000 votes. And based upon the numbers, he's going to increase his lead by a total of 81,000 votes, which is the only way for that to happen is exactly like I said. Red counties run out of votes to give Kari Lake. The gap in Maricopa and Yuma are going to go ahead and nullify her chances of coming back. But those counties will come in last. They always do. They're the biggest counties, and Arizona sucks at counting, as we know. So that's where we're at. Okay. All right. You're going to be fine. TheDumbShow.com/donate. How about an attaboy? No shit. Can I get something? My God, throw me a frickin' bone here, people. Really, it's not too difficult. All I ask is for sharks with laser beams on their head. What? No, he is really quite astute. I am trying to kill the little shit. I'm glad you can do numbers and strategies. Listen, I'm not a mathematician. I use logic. I'm horrible at math. I flunked out of algebra. I could do trig, which is really weird, and geometry, but I couldn't do basic algebra. Long division killed me. I don't understand why. But this isn't hard. It's just I've been watching elections since I've been 6. I love this shit. This was my Legos, elections. And I love him just like Ethan does. And you saw Ethan last night. Does he strike you as a person who doesn't have full capability of doing this shit in his head? It's crazy. I didn't use a calculator for most of this. Anyway, it just makes sense to me. It's always made sense to me. So we'll see what happens. I'll let you know if there's any other news. But exit polls also, just to give you a heads up, are also solidifying what I'm trying to tell you is if you take a look that Democrats have 49% of the woman vote on both sides, which is, the men vote, 49 to 49. But Kari Lake is not getting the woman vote. Gallego is. Women are breaking. That is a very big delta. She's lost 5% of the woman vote, and that's not good. She should be crushing the men's vote, but they aren't responding to her. White males are breaking, but Latinos, which is Maricopa County, are breaking for her in Yuma. So race, non-white, like I said, she's getting her ass kicked, and white, she's really, the delta's not too bad. You're talking 4-7%, not big enough for Kari Lake. So she's gonna have to get to work here. Election day votes, 19% early mail-in votes, 2.27. He has 52% of the early mail votes. She has 46. That's good. That's pretty much what we did nationally. But the day of votes, this is the problem, is day of votes, they're 42% for him. This number should be south. In the United States, we were looking at like 67 to a 33% split for same day voting, and she's way behind. He's closing that gap. So it doesn't look good for her. If I was her campaign manager right now, I would tell her to do two things. Here's what I would do: is I would hold on, and I would not file any challenges at all. I would not file any court cases. I would stand up on the podium, and the first thing I would do is concede to Christine Sinema from 2020 and say, I lost the election in 2020 as governor, and then go ahead and say the following words: once this is a little bit closer, and we know for sure, which it's not too far away, we're very, very close to having this called, say, I just lost the Senate race too. So I've lost and admit, and I concede to 2 races. And I promise you this, the next time I vote, I'll have a clean record. I won't run on everything stolen. I won't make phony tapes. I won't run on January 6th. And I will not play the victim. I will actually run on the values of the people. I will take a page from Donald Trump, and I will worry about the working class and make the following focus: the border, the economy, and the safety and security of Arizonans. And if you run on that, you'll be taking a page out of Eli Crane's book, and you will be sworn in with whatever office. But I have a feeling that Kari Lake is probably going to go into obscurity. I don't imagine she'll go on Donald Trump's staff. It could. I don't know if that's a good thing. I think Kari is very aggressive and not the best representation of Donald J. Trump. That's just me. That's all. Okay, good, great. Glad we had this talk. I hope it doesn't bother you too much. The rest of it is pretty much simple. Senate is sitting at 52 seats to 44. That's not quite true. It's actually 53. We're pretty much done at this point, minus Kari Lake. The way that it's looking at that 53 total for Republicans is they flipped a total of 4 seats. House, 211 to 200. I think that is fairly accurate. And we are waiting on some state races. We're looking at the Ohio district, Captor versus Marin. Maine House District, Golden versus Thoreau. You're looking at Ingle versus Cisco Manny, whatever. Colorado, Hurd versus, this one's going to be called anytime soon. This one's huge. House District, Caraveo versus Evans. That one's fairly close. Iowa, looks like Miller is in a tight spot, but 99% in. California, Vallejo versus Salas. Oregon, Bynum versus Chavez. Baugh versus Min in California. Steele versus Tran. Looks like California's a lot of red. Calvert versus Rollins. Glusenkamp, Perez versus Kent. Newhouse versus, Washington's a win-win because it's double red. And then Alaska House District 1, we don't have a count on, which is interesting. That's what we're showing. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, don't worry about it, folks. It's a slow morning. This happens. I don't mind slow mornings. Honestly, I didn't expect this to be going too well this morning. I didn't. I knew it was going to be a slow feed. It's Friday. People are tired. They're tired of this shit. Let me go into Fox and see what they have. Still haven't called Arizona, which is really, Nevada is the one that surprises me. Nevada's 95.79 in, and this is the one that I'm just kind of, what? I don't quite understand why Arizona isn't in yet. As you can see, remember what I told you? 3.5 million votes to 4 million votes. The gap is closing because California's coming in. California's coming with this close. So all this bullshit where they're like, where'd those 15 million votes go? It's closing, idiots. And it's going to the liberals who are saying that there was a stolen election. Once California comes all in, Nevada and Arizona and any other pending races, you're going to find that the race was fairly close to 2020. It's not going to be as large, but it's fairly close. Let me go to the AP. I haven't went to the Associated Press all election, and I wasn't going to use it for election night because I don't like the AP for election night. But I'm going to look at it now and see where it's at, because they're a little bit more liberal with their numbers. Okay, so let me blow this up. So U.S. House 199 to 211. I still think it's 200 to 211. 53 to 45 on House. That is correct. There is a update. The latest updates Thursday in Clark and Washoe counties, Nevada, didn't add many votes to the tally. Decision desk update in Arizona. Another day of vote counting. Remain hundreds of thousands of ballots left to count, including nearly 500,000 Maricopa County officials that are still working their way through advance votes. The race for president, U.S. Senate will remain too early to call for at least another day. Fuck, I hate them. Dave McCormick has actually said that he has accepted the results. But Bob Casey has said, well, there's 100,000 votes left, but it's in a red district. So Bob Casey is going to challenge. I'm hoping, honestly, that the half point is exceeded in this next county, and it makes the race a little further apart and get it to 0.75% so he can't challenge. That would be ideal. But if it's a half a point, he's going to challenge, and he's well within his right to challenge. He should. A half a point needs to be recounted. But if we take a look here, Casey and McCormick. Dude, okay. Slow. It's not me. I'll tell you that much. So if you look here, it's 48.5 to 49%. John Thomas, Libertarian, the Green Party candidate, they took a considerable vote, almost 2% of Pennsylvania. But this is a half point. It's too close. The remaining district that they're looking to bring in is, I will have to look and see what counties is remaining. Let me go to MSNBC. MSNBC is going to give us a better look at this, and I'll kind of tell you what I think about this. So there's the House, Senate, races to watch, McCormick. Okay. So, son of a bitch. All right. 49.7, 158,000 remaining votes. Let's find out where they're at. Ugh. Need to do a better job on the county. Estimated remaining votes. It's not Philadelphia. So you can see that the blue map here, where these remaining votes are, predominantly down here in Philadelphia County. 84% in. Yeah, I understand why they're calling it. But these red counties have a lot left. Here you go. This doesn't have many in. There's votes. There's red votes all over the place. Look at this. None of these counties are full in. They all. So I mean, you got Philadelphia County, but look at all this red. So they're saying basically whatever he can do in Philadelphia County and whatever he can do in Allegheny is not going to overcome all of these remaining 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% votes. So I think McCormick's got it. The question is, can he get it to 0.75%, 0.6? At that point, he'll probably not contest, and then we know where we're at. That's it. Yeah, it's a lot of red. There's a lot of votes remaining. I mean, and you can look at his lead. You see what I'm saying? These reds are leads. And then when you look at the votes remaining, this is red county right here. Look at the color. So you take the size of the circles and you take like this county's 100% in pretty much. And you take the size of the circles and you can pretty much, Philadelphia, this is huge. This is huge. That's massive. But in Philadelphia, he's getting killed. But and everywhere else in the Blues, he's fairly within striking distance. Like in Bucks County, that's a big one. Bucks County, he's right within striking distance. He's within the 60-40 split on Montgomery, which is standard. 60-40 split in Chester. 51-45 here. Yeah, he's got this. He's got it. It's just it's gonna go down to the wire. So the good news is they're in 98%. There's not much left. So it's going to go down to the wire, but it looks like he's got it. So the thing is we have to look at the House, and that is the thing that's up in the air right now. And if we were to take a look at this, we have got to get to the 217 mark, 218 mark. So if we look at the Houses remaining, let's just assume they go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 seats would put us at 219, the slimmest of margins. And if we take a look, Democrats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that would put them at 206. So we would have control of the House, and it's not much bigger than what we have right now. So we would not lose. At 217, we don't lose control. 218 retain control with a net positive of seats. So you're looking at 10, 12 seats in the plus. That's good. That's great. We'll take it. That's good enough. But that's where it's falling with the uncalled races right now. That can change. Some of those are very, very close. Okay. So that's the election. That's where we're at. Let's go ahead and get on some other stuff, and then we're going to go ahead and call it a morning. We'll be back tonight at 7, but we're here now. We're not leaving, and we still have plenty of stuff to talk about. Taking a look at donations. Thank you. Looks like we've got Kimberly decided to join in. Thank you, Kimberly. I much appreciate it. Means a great deal when people help out and donate, because even during the slow days, it's good to make a little scratch so we can go ahead and continue to pay the bills. Every time we stream, it costs money. And Facebook has they have given me a strike for nothing. They said that I got a strike for spreading false information on the squirrel, which I didn't. There was actually a story about alt-right are using it to rally around Trump. Well, it was an article. Unfortunately, somebody used that picture and said it was linked to The Atlantic. I never said that. I said it was linked to Ellen Ward, who did write it, and that it wasn't linked to The Atlantic. They gave me a strike. So they're trying to make it even worse. They've already taken away our ability to make money. Now they're just trying to go ahead and shut our page down, I guess. So if you have not had a chance, please help out. thedumshow.com/donate. You can give through PayPal or Venmo. And Kimberly, thank you so much for helping us. Okay, let's get into this. I hope the Kari Lake thing helps. It can change. I mean, she could win. I'm not calling, like, if I was to bet right now, I would bet that she's going to lose it. Let's see what Polybet or Polymarket says. And then we'll go ahead and get on some other conversations. All right, let's go to Polymarket. So her odds have gone down. The gap is about the same. She has a 12% chance of winning, and Ruben has an 88% chance of winning. Those odds are continuing to decrease for her. So 88 to 12 right now on Polymarket. And I think it's worse than that. I honestly, doing the math, I don't think. See, what Polymarket, they're looking at the current trends, but they're not remembering last year that this is exactly what happened. Like I said, when they get to that 89, 90, 91% count mark, you're going to start seeing it do something different. Just FYI. All right. Go on to this. No, it's not a squirrel thing. I'm trying to get everything in and I'm tired. It's been a long fucking week. Yes, the squirrel is what Amy's not saying that. She's saying the squirrel post that I made on Facebook. I'm slow this morning. It's not my fault. Leave me alone. Be nice, people. Don't take advantage of an old man. Kathy Griffin had some things to say. I always love this chick. She is frickin'. She's basically looks like a transsexual Carrot Top, you know? I can't stand this woman. She must be getting her hair done or something. I mean, she hates Trump and she's delusional, and her entire career, she can't just admit that she sucked. She wasn't successful beforehand. I mean, yeah, moderately, you know, but Donald Trump didn't help her career, but she's never coming back. I mean, this is like the Kamala Harris slogan. We ain't going back. She ain't going back. No, here it is.
I don't think that our beloved country, America, knows what it's in for with a fascistic society.
Fascistic. I tell you what, Roseanne Barr had the best. And goes, and people fucking call me crazy.
And dictator.
Not a dictator.
I'm not being hyperbolic.
Yes, you are.
I'm not being dramatic.
Yes, you are.
I have said this on tapes before, but I am shocked and crushed at how many people I personally know did not vote or felt like there was no difference between the candidates or just were too self-involved to learn anything about it. And that makes me sad. Just because I live in California and have a lot of protections other states don't, doesn't mean there won't be a federal ban on abortion. And although I know that's sort of funny, me worrying about abortion, but just being a lifelong feminist, I worry about all of it. And the fact that the boys should be just as worried, because if you're really living in sort of the Trumpian, Christo-fascist, mega church, I think Trump is stopping child trafficking, QAnon world, then if your son gets a girl pregnant and they're both 15, then you, of course, will force that they marry and keep having as many Duggars as possible. So it's going to be a Duggar America, everybody. Remember how that one ended? Okay, you know what? We're going to keep fighting. And, Trump will crumble. I mean, he's not looking too healthy these days. And then President Vance will be terrifying and horrible because he's as crazy as Trump, but he's smart. So, and the way things are going in this country, could then get reelected. We could have President Vance for 8 years, which I kind of wish some of my friends had thought about yesterday that weren't voting. So now we're paying the price, and freedom isn't free, and we've been free, and technically we're still a democracy.
Glenn, I'm not redoing the Yenny shirt, okay? And you have to understand, bro, is that I don't have an artist to render a painting of my cat, okay? So what you're asking me is fairly unrealistic. It's good enough. So, and pointing that out in a chat, you send me a private message next time. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Private message. Thanks.
See, the inauguration's going to be a shit show. Remember how crazy his speech was last time? American carnage and all that stuff. Even George W. Bush famously said that was some weird shit. It's going to be weirder and scarier. But I just want to put this out there again. Gays, you may not be safe.
Is she a comedian? I thought she was a comedian. So how bad must your life be when all you do is talk about Donald Trump? Now, I've went through and I looked at my shows. And although Trump was discussed quite a bit, this is a political show. But man, we talked about plenty of stuff outside of Donald Trump for most of Joe Biden's presidency. I mean, really. I mean, we can talk about Afghanistan. We can talk about Ukraine. We can talk about his reaction to COVID epidemic. We can talk about the fentanyl crisis, the wall, how he treated the military, inflation, his comparison to Carter. Donald Trump was not mentioned as often as this chick mentions Donald Trump in pretty much everything she does. And Glenn, I'm not coming down on you. I just, dude, I'm too busy, bro. And if you're bothered by a pole that is behind the cat, and yes, the pole is going through her body, I understand, dude. And trust me, I tried to create that image 1,000 times, and that's the best I could get. So I just moved on to the neon and the lettering and those type of things. But yeah, dude, if you look at it, let's just get it out in the open. The pole is going through her body. Yeah, but how do I put the pole in the middle of her face? In front of her, then you can't see her face. So sometimes you have to suspend disbelief. That's why I put the cats glowing neon sign behind her, is to distract people from seeing that the pole most assuredly is stabbing her through the body. So there it is. It's a pretty damn good design, and that's it. And next time, send me a private message. Okay. So now that we've done that, let's look at Robert Reich. Not mad, I'm tired, dude. I'm busting my ass. You know what I mean? How about hey, that's a really cool fucking design. Thank you. That would help. I just critics are awesome, and I like critique. I'm too tired for that shit right now. I don't want any feedback. Just everything, either it's great or just keep it to yourself for another couple of days until I get some sleep. That's to everybody, okay? Don't want to hear it. I'm in baby mode, okay? Here is Robert Reich. He's going to give you a breakdown of what he feels Trump's number one campaign promise would do, which is exporting and deporting illegal immigrants. By the way, which has been done before. The Obama in chief had the most immigrants deported from the United States ever in U.S. history. And we hear that he had the greatest economy in the world. So let's listen to this, and we'll take some of these points. Sorry, Glenn, I'm a little grumpy. I'm tired.
Trump's number one campaign promise would wreck the American economy and rip families apart.
No, it wouldn't.
Will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history.
Trump has promised a mass family separation campaign to deport what he claims are up to 20 million undocumented immigrants. This would be both a humanitarian...
Okay, so first point is either you have to agree that there's 20 million undocumented immigrants, but you didn't. You discredited it by saying Donald Trump thinks. Okay, so instead of Donald Trump knows, or you saying there are currently 20 million illegal immigrants, you're basically saying that Donald Trump's premise of deporting 20 million people is false because there aren't 20 million people to deport. Therefore, your entire video, you have just undercut your argument and means absolute dick fuck. This is why debate is stupid, because you let people go on for 2 minutes and say this shit when none of it's true. Everyone should turn off this video because you don't believe that there's 20 million illegal immigrants. So what do you care? What is the number? And does it mean that if the number decreases, that therefore there's a threshold that's reached where it does destroy the economy or doesn't destroy the economy? Is it variant degrees of destroying the economy, or is it just if he deports one person, the entire economy is going to just be destroyed? Well, is it 1 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 15 million? What's the number? And shouldn't we start at that number where it won't have a negative impact on the economy, at least in order to get criminals out of our country? See, this is the problem with people like this, is that they make videos and they don't take the time to cover the facts. This is what I get accused of doing too much, is I go too much into detail. Well, there's no such thing in my opinion. Because if you want to make a valid argument, you have to anticipate what people are going to say to discredit it. He didn't do that already in the beginning.
Catastrophe.
Glenn, I'm sorry. I'm tired. Dude, I have worked like this week alone. I must be in the 90 hours. It's been a long week. I need a break. I'm tired. I've been on here, on live, between the election and post-election. It's a lot. And it's my job, and I'm okay with that, but I'm just tired, dude. That's it. I'm sorry I snapped at you. I love you. You know that. You know how much I love you. And your critique is absolutely appreciated. And yes, I know my cat is impaled with a stripper's pole. Yes, I'm aware. Thank you. And I saw that in the design, and I was hoping people wouldn't catch it, but they caught it, and that's it. It is what it is. I love you.
And an economic disaster. Undocumented workers do some of America's hardest.
And it's not that I didn't want them to catch it. I was just hoping people wouldn't care. They would go, well, if I put the pole there, it'll cover her face, or I'll have to give her an elongated neck where she's wrapping around. All of that is very difficult to create. I love you too there.
Most essential jobs. Jobs most Americans don't want.
Well, what do you mean? What are essential jobs, right? We tried to do that shit in COVID. What we were told were essential jobs were jobs working at Subway, jobs at Home Depot, big conglomerate corporations where somehow they weren't affected by COVID because they worked for big corporations who held a lot of money in the NASDAQ. What are essential workers? Because in my opinion, everything's essential. Let me give you an example. You might think that an Uber driver isn't an essential necessity for us. Well, if we don't have public transportation and I don't have a car, an Uber driver is essential. Let me give you another example. If I am extremely horny and I have blue balls that are the size of freaking Saturn and Uranus, a prostitute is very important to me. You might find her not essential, but to me, she's absolutely required. So it's all on perspective of what somebody needs at the time. That's what's great about a free market, is that the demand will actually be versus the overall demand will equate to the supply. So when you say an essential worker, what jobs are you talking about? I have a feeling he's going to try to tell us.
They grow our crops, process our meat, build our homes, take care of our sick and elderly, and haul our trash.
Holy shit. Are you a complete racist cock? So basically what you're saying is they're only good for picking vegetables, washing dishes, and trash. That's really nice of you. Here's the thing. And here is the most honest thing. If you cannot find workers to do a simple task, those tasks will be fulfilled by the free market designing and innovating a new solution to this. Okay? There used to be a time that we would have people rubber stamp a logo on every single product. Well, those jobs are no longer available. Those might be considered essential to the company because now they have robots do it. Checking out groceries, something that we've done forever. Bagging your groceries. We simply just eliminated those fucking people and made you do it yourself. So even though those might not be practical, the free market will decide what happens. And if you go ahead and take out 12 to 20 million people out of the economy all at once, it's going to have an impact, yes. But businesses will find a way to thrive and survive. They will come up with solutions. They will have to pay a little bit more. But ultimately, isn't that better for the inconvenience that they do bring, which is to slow down the economy, not pay into the economy at the same rate, be a suck on the economy, and also overpopulate areas, increase housing prices, and we can go on and on and on, the crime statistics and everything else that illegal immigrants bring. Unfortunately, it is a draw on society. It's a draw on cities. And although you might find it convenient, that doesn't mean it make it right.
It's estimated that 3/4 of all undocumented immigrants in the workforce are essential workers. Roughly half of America's farm workers are undocumented. If they were to suddenly disappear because they were deported or went into hiding, we could face a national food shortage. Over 1.5 million.
Give me a break. I'm not even going to address it.
Immigrants work in construction, often as day laborers. Losing them would result in immediate project delays and fewer available houses. That means higher rents and more expensive homes. The food service, hospitality, and caregiving industries also rely on undocumented workers who do some of the lowest paid.
See, these are wonderful, wonderful points. Then fix the fucking problem. Either find a way for these businesses to give them work visas and pay for the money for the visas, get them I-9 certified, whatever it takes, do some sort of support program where you bring them and do an exchange program, whatever it would be. You don't have to do it illegally. The problem is that by having illegal immigrants in the country, you make the country do illegal shit. You make corporations support them. You give them money. You give them a license. You give them the ability to vote in some cases. This is illegal. They are not American citizens, and we have overlooked this long enough. So what you're saying of this whole video is, let's continue to overlook the problem because it's hard. We don't need to send all out. Let's start with the criminals. Let's start with the ones who have multiple convictions and multiple felonies and multiple crimes against them and get these fucking people out. Let's get the people who are sending money to Mexico and not putting any money into the United States and either tax them properly or send them out. Let's take the ones who are stealing Social Security numbers like mine and illegally taking my identity, which doesn't have an effect on me. And as I was told by the IRS and the FBI, it's not that big of a deal. Make it a big deal.
Get most crucial jobs, and the cost of the deportation itself is hard to fathom. Estimates range from $40 billion to $600 billion.
So basically what we're going to give Ukraine in the next 2.5 years, or what we give them in a month.
And don't forget the lost tax revenue. Undocumented immigrants pay roughly $12 billion a year in taxes, much of it going to programs they themselves can't benefit from because of their undocumented status.
No, they steal other people's Social Security numbers and go ahead and work under the guise of them. And unfortunately, that is called illegal.
Like Social Security. Even worse is the humanitarian crisis this would create. Trump proposes using local law enforcement for his ethnic purge. And even deploying...
At no time in any way, shape, or form did Donald Trump call it an ethnic purge. Give me a fucking break. Robert Reich. Your name, funny. What's the etymology of the word Reich? I wonder where that comes from.
The military within the United States. This would turn America into a permanent police state, with authorities going door to door looking for undocumented people.
Oh, so kind of like how you were looking for COVID neighbors and friends that spend time together, or people who went to church, or people who went to go see their loved ones who are dying in the hospital, kind of that door to door. Do you think Donald Trump is going to get a rat on your neighbor reward system going on? Maybe you can put a gold star on us. Wouldn't that be cool if you could do that? Wouldn't that be fun?
Haul away. It's estimated that 1 in 15 people in the United States lives in a mixed status household, where some family members are U.S. citizens or legal residents, and others are undocumented. These families would be torn apart.
Good.
And anyone who even looks
good. Then stop fucking good. Then stop breaking the fucking law. Pretty simple. Stop breaking the law. It's not hard. Pretty easy. Don't break the law. Now, do I want Juan Pablo and Sarah Jessica and little Lily and Susie to be separated? No. They can stay. If you have kids in the United States, honestly, we're good. We're good. We will need to naturalize some immigrants. Yes, we will. We'll have to. There's people who've lived here 30 fucking years who've worked here, and they have jobs and they have family, and they may as well be. Okay, you know what? I understand. You may not like it. But let's give them citizenship. Okay, let's take care of them. Seriously, let's just get it done. There's no difference. I'm not splitting up a family. I'm not taking away somebody's grandbabies. Give me a break. It's over. But there are plenty who are here illegally who don't have families, who are taking advantage, who are peddling drugs, who are doing crime, who are criminally working here. Those people need to go. And they can apply for citizenship like everyone else. And this is what the mandate is. Donald Trump received a mandate to do this. Shut the fuck up. We listened to you for 4 years. Look where our borders are at. He's going to reinstitute the 91 and revoke the executive orders that Joe Biden put in and put those regulations back in place in the border. And we are going to start deporting people. Yes, we are also going to stop funding these states that are sanctuary cities once we get this cleaned up, whether you like it or not. Federal law is federal law, and it has been voted upon. And sanctuary cities are absolutely 100% against the Constitution of the United States. They are unconstitutional, and they should be revoked. No money should go to any state who has sanctuary cities. The federal government should not give them one more dollar until they stop harboring illegal immigrants. This is it. This is what America wants. America knew what they voted for. Shut up. You've had your time. You ruined it. Trump's going to do whatever he wants. And if it costs us money to deport these people, fine. In the long run, it's an investment into our future. That's it. You lost. Elections have consequences. No, I'm not. No, Dodie, no, I'm not. No, no, I'm not going to go ahead and tell my neighbor who's worked in this country for 30 years, who jumped the border, who was fleeing poverty and death and drugs back in those days, who has a family here. No, I'm not going to deport him. No, I'm just not. No, I don't want that. You can do that, but that's not what Donald Trump says he wants to do. We want to get rid of the gang members. We want to get rid of the people who are taking advantage of the system. We want to get rid of the people who are trafficking children. We want to get the people who are committing crimes. We want to get rid of the people who are in sanctuary cities and ruining these cities. That's what we want to do. We don't want to take it out on Juan, who worked across the street from us for 30 years. We didn't know he was an illegal. He's come to our barbecues. He's helped our families. Our kids skinned a knee and he put a Band-Aid on it. And he's a good human being. We really don't want to kick that guy out. If you do, that's not what I want. Sorry. I don't give a shit about, the 5-6 million people who've been here for 2 generations. I don't care. Let them stay. Citizen, make them a citizen. I don't care. I don't care. Any child that's born in the United States, is an American citizen, whether her parents are illegal or not. That's in the Constitution of the fucking United States. I'm not going against the Constitution. Why do you want to go against the Constitution? Oh, they're naturalized citizen, blah, blah. They're born in the U.S. They're an American citizen. That's the way this works. Let me ask you a question. What about military people who have kids in Japan? Are they not Americans because they live in Japan? No, it's sovereign soil. It's a U.S. sovereignty. If you're born on American soil, you're an American. If you're born in Japan on an American airbase, you are an American. That's the way this works. Otherwise, you have to illegitimize millions of children of military personnel. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. Well, then what's the difference? Well, that one here is illegally. Okay. You're right. The Mexico that was fled from 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago is very different than the one that's there now. Mexico's GNP, because of the getting rid of the North American Free Trade Agreement and putting in USMCA, Mexico is growing. Mexico is one of our largest trade partners. It's not like it used to be. They can keep their own people. Okay. The problem is it's not Mexico. It's South America. And Mexico is allowing these people to come up through. So we have to put on some really tough negotiations with Mexico. And we've got to say enough is enough. When you are fleeing from another country and you're trying to escape oppression or tyrannical rule, it's the first sovereign country that you come across that you are supposed to go ahead and seek harbor and safe haven from. That would be Mexico, not the United States. But what Mexico is doing is going ole and letting them come over the border because Joe Biden invited them. Donald Trump's going to stop that shit. Now, what do we do with the ones here? It's just like abortion. Instead of just banning abortion, which is never going to happen, can we do this? Can we stop using it as birth control? Can we stop giving unfettered access up to 9 months? Can we give them 15 weeks? Can we give them life, rape, incest, jeopardy of a child, and say that's going to go ahead and stop 90% of the abortions out there? Can we say that that's going to save millions of lives and start there? Or should we just say all or nothing? That is the problem of the Democrats. They want all or nothing. They want all the guns. They don't want some guns. They want them all. The answer is no. The problem with abortion is there's people out there who say zero abortion ever under any circumstance. You're just as fucking crazy as the people who want 9 months or at birth. There is a compromise that's needed in this country, and we better figure it out. So saying deport any illegal immigrant in the United States, no matter their situation, that shit is nuts. It's just nuts. It's inhumane. I'm sorry. I know some of these people. I worked with these people as a kid, and I don't want them gone. I want to have a better process of intake, how we can naturalize and have a citizenship process that actually makes sense. I want to stop releasing people for 9 months to 3 years as they wait for a court case. I want to stop the asylum seeking process in this country until we find a way to vet these people. I want to close the border. I want to close the border for 2 years and stop all illegal immigration in this country. unless it is absolutely politically necessary for people who are fleeing oppression or tyrannical rule, or they want to turn over and be witnesses for government oppression, or they're going to work for the government or their former NGOs. Okay, those things are fine, but this unfettered access needs to stop. But I don't want to punish people who've been here 30 years, who eat hot dogs at the Dodger game and cheer on, the Los Angeles Dodgers, or people who work in construction with the companies that I've worked with, or are good people paying their taxes. And yes, the way they do it is not the right way, but do you think they've lived in fear long enough? Do you think they want this life so bad that they've been doing it for 30 years and they've been hiding from it? Yeah, I think we should give those people a pass. I'm sorry. That's exactly what you said. It's exactly what you said. I don't know. I don't know, Dowdy, what you mean, Dodie. I know that, but some of these newbies are coming here. I don't care about that. I didn't say those people, did I? Let the illegals take their kids with them back to where they came from. That's what you said. I'm sorry. That is what you said. And that's okay. You can have an opinion. Just don't expect me to agree with it. And I don't agree with it. I think it's 100%. We've had this argument before about illegal immigration. I think a zero policy is not acceptable. I think there are situations where we have to understand that there are millions of people who've lived in this country for decades who do not need to be deported. They have homes, they have lives, they have jobs, they have careers, they have families, they have barbecues on the weekend, they celebrate the 4th of July, they have an American flag flying outside their house. I think we need to get them citizenship. And I think there needs to be some forgiveness for this. Yeah, I do. We're not talking about the same thing. We're talking about people who are Americans in heart, but not in reality because of stigmatisms and citizenship issues. And these people are afraid to come forward because that they'll be deported or arrested. And I understand that. And I think we need to find a way to fix it. But if you want to blame anybody, you can hold Ronald Reagan to account. Ronald Reagan allowed more illegals to come into this country because they wound up voting for Republicans. So we can sit here and pretend that this wasn't a conservative mandate, but it was. Then Democrats took it over when we saw a shift. And that's what happened. And then we stopped saying, let them in. Let's shut them down. Let's put up a wall. Let's do this. And that's fine. And that's our position. And I happen to agree with you. But it wasn't too long ago that Democrats were calling for a wall, that they were calling for immigration reform, and Republicans had no desire to do it. So there's a history here. Both parties have been wrong on this issue. This is a multifaceted problem, and just simply deporting everybody isn't going to fix the problem. Or just let the illegals take their kids with them back to where they came from is not, to me, okay. Now, if they show up on our border and they're pregnant and they want to seek asylum and they don't have a reason to be here, I'm sorry. No, you can't come in. And if you have a child here, well, that child is an American citizen. And if that child has a means to provide for themselves or have family members here, they can stay, but you have to go. I think we need to have a cutoff line. And I think, unfortunately, it's going to slow down the process. And that's more important than how much it costs or what impact it has on the economy, is how long it's going to take to get through 20 million people and investigate and do backgrounds on these people to find out if they're the people who are considered to be Americans without the title, or people who came here illegally and have been feeding off the system. It's a very good question. And Dodie, I agree with you on that aspect, but I don't think we should be, if you have a kid, just ask you for your birth certificate and ask you for your social security card, and you say, I don't have one, I'm an illegal, and you say, get them on a bus and let's drop them off in the middle of Mexico. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's very Christian-like either. It's just me. It's just what I believe. And once again, we can disagree because it's not factual. It's just a feeling. It seems immoral to me. I don't know. I'm not talking about the ones that have been here for years. Okay, well, then make that declaration. Otherwise, I'm going to call you out on it, right? I mean, it's just adding 2 or 3 words. Hey, I don't think the people who've established themselves here need to go, but if you're coming over here and you're using anchor babies, and yeah, you need to stop. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm okay with ones here to better their lives, to live the American dream, but the fentanyl peddlers, fuck yeah, Tracy, I'm with you. Oh yeah, you know what? This is what I would do: deport them, or try them in American court systems. Classify fentanyl as a poison, and make it attempted murder. For every ounce of whatever it is, not an ounce, but for every gram or milligram or whatever it would be, which deadly, make it a 10-year sentence for attempted murder. And start charging these people. And if you have a certain amount of fentanyl for a lethal dose, well, then I'm sorry to say this. I know this is extreme, but if you are in possession of fentanyl that can kill a certain amount of people and you had distribute to intent, I think you should get the death penalty. You don't give a fuck about the people you kill. I think that would send a message to the cartels and send a message to these mules and peddlers. America is putting people to death who deal fentanyl in the United States. It would solve that shit overnight. I promise you, they would no longer do it because you would make the cost of doing business too expensive. Imagine what you would have to pay someone for running something over for $100. Now it would cost tens of thousands of dollars because they don't want to risk their life for this. This is why drug dealers don't carry guns anymore. Because they made the cost of it that each bullet would get them consecutive sentences. And if there was a certain amount of drugs with that firearm, the penalty made it just too great. So they stopped carrying guns. They also found that filing off serial numbers on firearms wasn't very, very smart. So they stopped doing it. Why? Because the cost of carrying an obstructed serial number on a firearm became more than just carrying one with a serial number on it and rolling the dice on if you were going to get pulled over with one or not. So you need to make the penalty worse than the actual benefit that they would receive. So I'm with you. Fentanyl, you get caught with fentanyl in the United States, you get a warning. You get caught again, you're tried for homicide. Intentional homicide with lethal distribution of a certain amount of narcotics. Poison. Fuck narcotics. Poison. Ricin is illegal. You can't have ricin. You shouldn't have fentanyl. You have fentanyl. You have ricin. You're going to jail for a long time, whether you apply that or not. It's a class substance. It's a poison. It's a lethal amount to have in any form. And you can't have it in the United States. You can't have cyanide. If you're caught chemically creating cyanide or ricin or methylamine or whatever else for methamphetamines, that's just a substance of methamphetamines and it's illegal. So, when you have people getting pseudo out of Dayquil and NyQuil, you can only buy a certain amount of packages in most places, especially New Mexico. You can buy one package. Well, you would have people go out called Smurfs that would buy, hundreds of packages all over New Mexico and bring them back, and they would do pseudo cooks. The only problem is that if you had a large quantity of those over-the-counter drugs and Sudafed and other types of medication that have that in there, you would be held culpable. You weren't making methamphetamines, but just possession of it was illegal. You make it worse than the actual benefit. So I'm with you. If you're illegal and came during the Biden-Harris term, you need to return home, apply, and be vetted. Okay, fine. That's good. I agree with you. I think there needs to be a cutoff, like I said. But I think if someone's been living here since the year 2000 and they've been living a great life and they've got 2 generations of family and grandpa's on the bench and he's bouncing his grandkid on his knee and his son's sitting next to him and they're looking off into the sunset and going, God, Dad, what a lovely life. And then, INS and ICE show up and throw them all in handcuffs and deport them. I think that's a little excessive, right? Right. So we need to find a cutoff date. Frederick Baldwin says, how ironic the Venezuelans are escaping democracy for democracy. Yeah, or escaping socialism for socialism. Right. Great. Then we're on the same page. Yeah, like we are most times. But like I said, you know me. We agree. But we have to get to a place where we understand that we agree. See, the way my brain works, Dodie, if you don't know, and I think you do, is that if you write something and I'm like, I completely agree, that's great, I acknowledge it. And if I don't, I'm going to acknowledge it the same way, and there's no difference between the two. it's really hard for people to understand that with me, and they take it personal and they get upset and they go, well, he's calling me out. I'm not calling you out. As much as I'm saying I completely agree with you is calling you out, me saying I don't agree with you is not calling you out. It's just simply having a conversation. And although it might feel a little bit more intense or it might be a little bit more in detail, it's still with the same level of passion and emotion and investment as me saying, great job, I completely agree. It's acknowledgement. And I don't consider negative specific feedback to be negative if that's what we've agreed to do. So let me give an example. If you go to me and say, hey, Matt, I disagree with you. I think if you're an illegal immigrant, you should be out of our country. And the conversation that we have is what we're doing right now. Then I've given you in the positive intent that whatever you say is coming from a good place. And I hope you do the same for me. That's what positive intent is. It's not for me to give to you. It's for you to give to me. And you're like, well, how is that possible? Well, because the person giving the feedback is usually the one attacked for doing it. You have to give a person, when you're getting feedback or you're in a conversation, that they're coming from a positive place. Otherwise, you're going to take it negatively and it's going to go bad. For example, with Glenn I did not give Glenn positive intent with the feedback he was giving me on the Yenny shirt, and it bothered me. And I took it badly and I reacted. Immediately recognizing that I did that I'm in a place of feedback and conversation and we're exchanging ideas, that I put myself in that scenario to receive that. Therefore, I needed to apologize and demonstrate some deference to Glenn, that I appreciate him, I care about him, and his opinion means something to me. Even though I wasn't ready to hear it and I didn't want to hear it, I put myself in a position to hear it, and I rejected that. That's my fault. So the point is that when we do this and we have these shows, and whether there's 50 people on or 500 people on or whatever, is that we have to give each other positive intent when we're talking about this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to take it poorly. Does that make sense? Okay. I hope it does. And if it doesn't, then maybe tomorrow it'll make sense. I know you're not upset. I'm not upset either, kiddo. I just want everyone to understand how this show communicates. Is that there are times where you'll say something, I'll read it, and you may be like, I don't like the way that felt. Then you're taking it the wrong way, because I'm not taking it that way. People say dumb stuff all the time, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. I think that's stupid. And it doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean that I don't agree with you all the time. That happened last night with John. And I like John, and John was like just going off and posting. Finally, I'm like, dude, stop being a dick. I'm going to get to your question, but why are you? John can either go, oh, well, maybe I am being a little bit of a dick. Or John can say, why is he calling me a dick? I want people to kind of reflect on their answer and get to that themselves and say, you know what? That was kind of a short-sighted answer. Let me retract and let me expand on my thought. That's what I want people to do. I don't like it when people do 2 words and expect me to go ahead and take something out of that other than you're just being obtuse or dismissive, right? I want people to invest a little bit in the things that they say and make sure that they're saying them in a way, not that it's all safe and cuddly and safe space, but that they're communicating their point effectively so I don't mistake what they're saying. And that happens a lot. You're okay. You're one of my favorite. I got your name right, so you're fine. The big problem is not enforcing laws that are already on the books. Well, that's true. Trump needs to change the postal regulations for foreign mail. In 2018, they changed the customs rules. Packages under a certain amount were not checked. A lot of young people who die from fentanyl overdose and get it from social media. You know what's interesting? I was watching The Sopranos last night with Olivia. Dodie, I love you. You're the best. Construction, positive criticism is a good thing for everyone. So's negative feedback. There's positive, specific, and negative. The worst type of feedback is negative and positive feedback. The worst. They're horrible. The best is positive specific and negative specific. Right? Positive and negative specific. But just positive and negative feedback aren't good. You know, let me give you an example of positive feedback. Great job. Let me give you a specific let me give you an example of negative feedback. You did a bad job. Let me give you an example of positive specific. Listen, I really love the way you communicated that. You had a strong tone. You didn't get emotional. You laid out the facts. You gave me a chance to respond. And it really made me feel better about the communication that we just had that other people got to witness. And it taught people a few things. Here's some negative specific. You're being a complete fucking idiot. You're not making any sense. You're cutting me off. You're throwing out facts and moving on to new things. I really like you, but you're making it hard to like you right now because you're being a douche plow. Could you please slow down, calm down, take a breath, and just relax? The difference. One is positive, one is negative, one is negative specific, one is positive specific. And you may not like the negative specific, but you're not designed to like it. Feedback is not, there's no contract between two people that feedback should feel good. It shouldn't. Honestly, the way that I look, this is the way I described it to my people when I was leading, is they would tell us, HR would say, this is what you say with feedback. Okay? And you really got to say this. Feedback is a gift. The fuck it is. No, I've had feedback that basically felt like I was getting railed by a rhinoceros. That's not a gift. No, me going to prison and getting raped by Bubba is not a gift. Okay? Feedback is most assuredly not a gift. And I can't stand it when HR companies say feedback's a gift. It's the best gift you can receive. No, it's not. No, the best thing I could do is for you to give me a pay raise and just shut up. That's the best gift I could receive. But I'm not going to get that, am I? So let me tell you what feedback truly is. Feedback is a bomb. Feedback is a bomb. It's a giant fuck you bomb. And you have a choice. You can either allow that bomb to go inside of you. You can swallow it. And you can let it go off and blow your insides completely up. You can start having self-doubt. My boss doesn't like me. My coworkers don't like me. Fuck this job. They don't give me enough money. I hate driving in traffic. And you allow that bomb to go off and literally blow you up from the inside and blow up your brain. Or you can diffuse the bomb and use those parts to make something else. It doesn't have to be a non-incendiary device. It can be anything. But you have a choice to take those parts and apply it to the areas that need work in your body and make yourself better. It still hurts. It's still growth. It's still tough. It's still hard. You're going to make mistakes and some connections aren't going to be made. You're going to blow a fuse once in a while. But either way, you can let it go off or you can take the parts and make something better. And the best way that I can tell you about feedback, and the only way that I take it, are three ways. Take it, use it, and lose it. Take it, use it, lose it. Because if you take it and you apply it and you actually try, you don't need to sit here and worry about it for 400 years. Just take what you need from it and then get the fuck rid of it. It's the hardest thing that I've had to learn how to do. And when people give me feedback, I tend to hold on. I used to hold on to it for a long time and I would let it get me mad. Well, that's the number one thing in anger management that you need to learn, is that when you get something, if you go ahead and say, that person made me mad, I can't fucking believe they did that. Why did they do that to me? They didn't do anything. You did. You allowed them to do that. You gave them power over you. So I want people just to kind of like Dodie just did. She's just like, I'm not mad. It was a good conversation. Thanks. That is the way it should be. It shouldn't be personal. It should just be an exchange of conversation. It's okay if we get hot. It's okay if we get frustrated. It's okay if we don't. But how we take things really is a reflection on how we take everything in life. Yeah, my reaction to negative feedback depends on whether I like the person to begin with. You can't change people who don't like you. You will never make a change in anyone because you can't. I don't care how fucking charming you are or how scary you are. You can't change someone unless they allow you to. So they have to like you. They have to want to please you. They have to want to gain your approval and acceptance. And the only way to do that is possibly to make changes in yourself or exemplify the things that are good that make you have that relationship to begin with. You know what I mean? Good conversation. Appreciate it. It's good. It's good. Anyway, Sopranos. Because I weave. You think Donald Trump can weave? So Sopranos, we're watching it last night. And the point was like season 5 and Tony's talking about Taliban and Muslims and sneaking a nuclear bomb into the ports of shipping containers, and how a news media crew put radioactive material in a shipping container and smuggled it over several inspections and on the docks, and it was never found. And this is a true story. This happened back when The Sopranos was on TV. So right after 9/11, 2001. So this would be 2003, 4, 5, whatever. And, you know, they commented on the show, and Tony's like, son of a bitch. And this is where Tony gets into reporting Muslims in his neighborhood and gets kind of conspiratorial, works for the FBI a little bit. Anyway, nothing's changed. In fact, it's worse now. Where, you know, they would receive like 30 million containers a day and only 2% of them were checked. And how many things would come across? Now, nuclear fission material is different than radioactive material. Now, it's a TV show. And taking radioactive substance and pretending that certain satellite and nest satellites are going to be able to pick up non-nuclear fission material, it's two different profiles. And radioactive material and fission material and the chemical makeup of a hydrogen nuclear bomb or an atom bomb are completely different than just standard profile of radiation. A microwave gives off radiation. It doesn't mean if you turn on a microwave inside of a train car that it's going to be picked up by our defense systems. And I'm not going to go into any more detail. My point is this, is that if someone tries to put a nuclear weapon device on a train car and put it on a ship and a vessel, and you expect that not to be picked up in some way, shape, or form, I'm telling you that good luck. That's all I'll say. But is it a possibility that in several lower quantities, could they smuggle multiple pieces of nuclear fission material and get it into the U.S. border? Sure they could. Logistically, that's an interesting thing. But when you're talking about millions and millions of these, dude, I got your call. Show some patience. Is that Olivia? It's Olivia. Hey, I had you on. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, hold on a second. I was almost done. I was wrapping something up. So if you bring a ton of little pieces of nuclear fission material and try to go ahead and put it all together and assemble it, I mean, the complexity of that are fairly extensive. But it just shows you that nothing's really changed. Our ports are not secure. Our borders are not secure. And this was happening in Sopranos on a show that Olivia and I watched last night. Hi, sweetie. How are you?
Hi. I just want to give you some feedback on your show this morning.
Okay, I got some feedback for you. You're going to get it tonight. Tell you.
I just thought that was funny. No, I hung up because I had no connection. I could barely hear you.
Oh, okay. So what's going on?
So I just thought I'd say hi and hi to everyone.
Say hi to everybody. Okay. Are you you're working? Have you been watching the show?
For the last 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about Sopranos episode last night where Tony was all worried about a nuke being brought in over, the ports and stuff. And I'm like, well, nothing's changed. We're 20 years removed from that show. And it's still happening, with fentanyl and everything else. So we were talking about illegal immigrants and how that there are people here in this country who are illegal but shouldn't be deported, who have family, who've made business, who've been here for generations. What are your thoughts? Do you think we should just take every illegal and just throw them out of our country no matter what, or are there exceptions?
That's a hard one.
Not yet, but it's got potential.
Because I know where your brain is at.
Well, after this, yes. So come on. What do you think? I mean, do we deport everybody, or are there exceptions?
To be honest, I think there should be some exceptions. Yes, everyone should have come in legally, but you've got the ones that have been here, like I said, for generations, have started families, their kids have been born here. They've been productive members of society. I think they should be able to get their path to citizenship. It's the ones that have come in recently and they've got criminal records and they're squatting in houses and they're causing, a horrible amount of destruction. They need to be deported.
What about the ones that drive like
the
shit?
The ones that have come over the border.
Oh.
Huh?
What about the ones that drive like shit?
What'd you say?
The ones that you always, the ones that you call Mexicans when you're driving. Learn how to drive, fucking Mexican.
I don't say that.
Yes, you do.
Don't call me names.
You're so funny. You say, don't Mexican roadblock me. You say that all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Racist.
I think the ones that have come in the last 4 years should go.
Yeah.
Because the way they've been able to come in without any checks and balances and without anything, and majority of them are not good people. Yes, I think they should go.
I don't know about the majority of them are not good people. I mean, that's kind of a hard thing to say, but the majority of them broke the law, were aware that they were doing it, and participated in it, and they haven't been here long enough to develop a family and have kids and everything else, and they should go. Okay. I agree with you. Okay. All right. Asians drive bad. Yes. DACA and their parents, grandparents can be exceptions if they have a productive life here. I agree. All my Lyft drivers are Hispanic. They drive pretty well. That's Indian, Michelle. God, you people. That's Indian. You guys are worse than me. He's from Egypt. Yeah, Mexico. I think it's a complicated problem. And the thing about Donald Trump is that he's not like people think. He's not going to make a rash decision. I think Donald Trump will do it with compassion. And the best way that I can describe it is if you look at the Afghanistan withdrawal and you look at his plans for what he thought about the NGOs and the non-government officials there, of getting them home, and they were a huge part of his package and design that Biden completely abandoned. I think if you look at his first proposal to the Democrats, is he wanted to forgive 1.9 DACA recipients and wanted to allow 1 million additional immigrants across and a pathway to citizenship, and they shot him down. I don't think that Donald Trump is not a compassionate person. I think he very much wants to listen to the good and the bad, and he'll make a good decision. But
he's
yeah,
legal immigration.
Same
with most Republicans.
I think so. So real quick, Democrats are flipping out. They're calling stolen election now, and they're saying this was Russian interference. And first it was 20. Where did all the 20 million votes go? Now it's 15 because California keeps counting, and soon it's going to be 10, and then 5, and then ultimately they're just going to disappear into whatever. But they are. The thing is with the election, you remember, it wasn't January 6th mentality right away. When Trump lost, people were pissed, and people said stolen and everything else, and multiple analyses came out that was, some people thought it was stolen, some people thought it was Russia, some people thought, it was, whatever, Dominion servers, some people thought it was ballot stuffing, but it really didn't come to a boil until January 6th. And you remember when I got that call from my Secret Service buddy, and I warned everybody, please don't go down there when I was on live. And I said, don't go down there tomorrow. January 6th didn't boil over right away. It didn't happen right after the election. So my thoughts is when I keep hearing these Democrats talk, I'm seeing the same patterns. They're slowly starting to boil, and it's just a rolling boil, and it's gonna start, be a vigorous boil with steam, and then it's gonna splatter everywhere, and finally it's just gonna hit an open flame and then catch fire. Do you think that Democrats are going to get to the place of J6 by his inauguration?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm surprised there hasn't been rioting already. I'm shocked. I was expecting to see something happen on Wednesday, and I haven't. So I think that, it's not going to be just one date. It's not going to be a January 6th, and they just go for one. It's going to be multiple cities, multiple federal buildings, multiple places burning, and that's what's going to happen. And,
when do you think this is going to happen? When do you think it's going to boil over?
No, I don't think it's going to boil over. I think it's going to get to a boiling point where they're just not going to be able to keep it in.
Well, that's what boiling over. That's what boiling over means. That my point was, when do you think they'll boil over? Like, I know you said you thought it would happen right away, but do you expect it to be closer to his inauguration, or do you think it's going to be before that?
See, I don't know, because Republicans, we posted 4 years ago, some people were still on election, a lot of people posted, I'm very sad, blah, 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 blah. But we didn't post the melting down videos and the freaking out and the, calling people names. And that's not usually what Republicans do. They're a little more level headed when it comes to this. So it took us a little bit to get to that point where some of them just couldn't handle it anymore. Democrats, on the other hand, and leftists, not all Democrats, but the far left ones, they are already freaking out. So I think it's either what's going to happen is the ones that are freaking out are going to continue to freak out, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later, or they're just going to fizzle out. And we'll probably get some freak outs, maybe some stuff at the inauguration, but if it doesn't hit that boiling point before, I don't think it's going to be much of anything. I mean, they might. I don't know. They're so. I don't understand them. I was thinking about this. I was on Facebook when I was brushing my teeth this morning, and several of my friends are Democrats and whatever. I don't care. But one of them posted a picture of the Statue of Liberty crying. Somebody else said something, I can't believe that America would do this. I can't, this is not the country I thought I lived in, blah, blah, blah. There were several of those posts. And I'm thinking, these are the same people that 4 years ago, when Republicans would post I'm sad, or they jumped down their shit and jumped down my shit because I said I was sad and blah, and you yelled at me. I didn't say anything. I just kind of scrolled past. Those are the same people. It's hypocrisy, and it's a double standard. And that's how they think. And they've got the world revolves around them. And they all remind me of a bunch of 2-year-olds. Like I said the other night, they all throw temper tantrums. If it doesn't go their way, they throw a temper tantrum. And that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
I hope nothing happens. I hope it doesn't burn down. I hope the one thing that they have against us is January 6th. And that we are the ones who rioted because of we claim stolen election. Well, if they do the same thing, then they can't throw that in our face anymore, because they've just done the same thing, even though they've caused billions of dollars worth of damage with all the rioting over other stuff. But they haven't rioted over election. The Republicans did. So if they do, then they can't blame us for that anymore. They can't say anything because, well, they could, but they're still hypocrites. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's peaceful.
Well, we shall see. All right. Well, it's a pretty slow day today. We've got about 60 on, so we'll cut bait. And I'm going to get some rest. We'll be on tonight. You're going to be on tonight, yeah?
Yes.
No, not going to be on.
Yes. Are we showing freak out videos by the women? I
think we're doing the freak out videos by the women if Amy got hers done, so we can show them. And we'll do haircutting tips 101 from the left and all that type of stuff. So it'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Olivia and I are going to go. We'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock. Thanks for watching, and good night. Say goodbye, Liv.
Night, y'all.
See you guys.
Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.